So here we are, the new BPN HQ. Got the keys Friday, it's Sunday right now, so we'll move everything in next week, Monday through Friday. I think the moving company comes Wednesday, so we'll do the majority of moving then, but it just feels good to be in here. It feels refreshing, kind of just brings up the energy. And the only difference, I mean, it's pretty similar buildings. The last one was like 25% office, 75% warehouse. This is pretty much the same thing. It's just everything's new. It's got loading docks, higher ceilings. But yeah, for the most part, pretty similar, just more space, a lot more room for activity, and it'll let us grow a little bit more. But like I said, for us, when we move into something like this or make this type of move, it brings a whole new energy and just kind of gets the whole team amped up. So we'll be excited to move everything this week. And as you can see behind me, we already started getting some inbound shipments delivered here. So just a lot of excitement going on. But I want to do a Q&A today, especially with the new warehouse in the background and everything. So we'll get this thing going. So we'll start out with some working out questions and then do some BPN questions, especially with the new warehouse, and then just some miscellaneous. So let's get to it. First question comes from someone that wants to know how to gain muscle and lose fat at the same time. So we get this a lot. We always hear about, people wondering how they do this. So if you've been lifting for a while, 4 or 5 years, you're not gonna be able to naturally gain muscle and lose fat at the same time. So for example, I'm cutting right now. I've been lifting naturally for 10 plus years. What I'll do, my goal when I'm cutting, is to hold on to all the muscle while I lose and strip the fat away. So I know I'm not gonna gain any muscle. Could gain a little bit of strength in some areas like shoulders and shoulder press and stuff like that, but really I'm not gonna gain muscle. The goal is to just hold on to all that muscle while I lose the fat and do it over a long period, dieting slowly. So a lot of people, what they'll do is they'll diet too hard and then they'll lose a lot of their muscle and the fat. So that's what you don't want to do. That's why I take it really slow when I diet. So to answer your question, you can't really do that unless you're new to lifting. Then you can gain muscle and lose fat at the same time. Next question, running while still having a lot of muscle. How do you do it? Because a lot of people do think it's harder. For me, when I was younger, like in college, I always wanted to be kind of that bigger person. Didn't care at all about running or any of that. Just wanted to get as big as possible. Now as I get older, kind of just all areas of fitness interest me a lot more. So now I want to be able to run well. I want to be able to lift. It doesn't really matter for me about just trying to get as big as possible anymore. So that's why I make myself still run. Gonna try to do it still 2 times a week, even though the marathon prep's over. The half marathon prep is over. So it just makes me feel so much better. I like doing it a lot more sometimes than lifting weights. But yeah, what I do is I just make myself do it. If I don't feel that great that day, I might just do 2 miles. If I feel good, I'll go up to 4 miles. How to bulk for a show, or just how to bulk in general. The way I like to do it, I don't do this anymore. This is how I used to do it in college when I really wanted to put on as much strength and kind of just muscle as possible. For example, my daily caloric intake was 3,500 calories, which that's gonna be the amount of calories I eat per day that's gonna keep me at the same weight. So what I would do is just put my calories up to 4,000, and that's just a surplus of 500 calories each day. That would make me gain about 1 pound per week. So I don't do that anymore. If I'm considered bulking or just the time I'm not cutting, I'll kind of just eat based on feel or whatever. So bulking sucks, I think. I think bulking's harder than cutting, especially when you get to kind of a high weight. So for me, if I'm just naturally eating a lot of food per day and not counting, I'll get up to 225. If I make myself go above that, I'll feel like absolute crap. So that's why I just don't track bulking anymore. But that's how you're gonna do it, just get in a surplus. How did running affect my calories while cutting? I definitely noticed I lost a lot of weight early in the process of cutting, and that was just from running so much, because some days I would run 5 miles and I'd still keep my calories at the same that they're at now. So now that I really took running away from the mix, my weight loss has definitely stalled, staying at that 3,200 calorie a day. So I still lose weight, but it's probably like 1 pound per every 2 weeks. And like I said, I like taking my weight loss slow, but I should probably either throw more running into the mix or lower my calories. So I could definitely tell when I had a lot more running, I was hungry all the time. I was losing a lot more weight. So especially with my body, running just made the metabolism go like crazy. It just burned a lot of calories, really. So if you are running a lot, you can either probably eat more or, yeah, just probably can eat more while you're cutting. Did I notice muscle loss from the marathon prep? No, and that's just because I was eating enough. I was eating 3,200 calories a day. If I would have been running that much to this point, I could have probably started to see some muscle loss, but I was still lifting. I was lifting 4 days a week and just kind of doing a bro split, like chest and tries one day, back and bis once a week. Just really wasn't trying to make any crazy gains. I was just trying to retain the muscle while I put running as the emphasis, getting ready for that half marathon. So half marathon, that was like the #1 priority. If I ran that day, then I was good. And then if I would lift it later, then that was just kind of like a double check. But running was always the priority, getting ready for that marathon prep. So should you still lift heavy during your cut? I still go pretty heavy. I won't go, as heavy as I was when I was bulked up to 225. But like I said before, the goal is to retain all that muscle, and the way to retain all that muscle is to kind of be hitting those weights that you previously were when you were all bulked up. So I'm not going to be going to absolute failure every set when I'm cutting, but I'm trying to get up to those weights that I was doing at the peak of my bulk, and that's just to hold on to all the muscle, ensure that you're not losing any strength. So that's how I'd go about it. I don't complicate things at all when I'm cutting. I just want to hit those weights that I previously was when I was bulking. Favorite pre-workout meal? I would say cereal and protein. I love that combination. It might not be what a lot of people will say is healthy I eat Oreo O's sometimes. So Oreo O's with some of our whey, I love that combination. I could do a healthier cereal, something with some fiber, so I could do that too. Maybe like some mini wheats with whey protein. But I love that combination of cereal and whey protein. Have me and Nick ever tried carb cycling? I think Nick has tried carb cycling before. For me, I've never really messed around with it too much, and I don't think it's really necessary to really mess around with it too much. We just keep it simple, honestly, when we diet. We use macronutrients, calorie breakdowns. We don't need to do keto or anything like that because we know what our bodies are gonna lose with the amount of calories we're eating per day. And especially with these diets, if you're dieting, for me, when I diet over a long period of time, I'm probably gonna fail if I would try something like keto, just because it's just not many different foods. With this flexible dieting, I can eat a bunch of different stuff. I don't get tired of dieting. It's just, absolutely love that diet, flexible dieting, and just utilizing macronutrients. What were some of the cutting meals that I used in college? So I remember doing grocery hauls in college, and I would take $50 to the grocery store and come out with at least a week's worth of food. And that was when I was cutting, which groceries and stuff can get expensive when you're cutting and just watching what you eat and you're into bodybuilding and everything. But I would get some of the cheapest, like the chicken thighs I would get were the ones that were already frozen, packaged with the breading on the outside and stuff. They might have been, I would never get them again, but not even $2 for like 8 chicken thighs. So the quality probably wasn't there, but I just remember eating so much chicken and rice that's all I ate. Chicken, rice, homemade burrito bowls, that was big, because that's beans and corns are really cheap. So I was easily able to keep the grocery bill down in college, and I think a lot of people can, but a lot of people are gonna blow money on alcohol, stuff like that, and that's probably where most of your money's gonna go. So that's one thing you kind of got a budget for. So I was able to keep that grocery bill sometimes at $42 per haul. That lasted me at least a week in college. My biggest struggle with fitness. So I know this made me think this question, and one thing I haven't really struggled with is the consistency. So I haven't stopped lifting and going to the gym and working out since I was probably like 13 years old, just week in, week out. It's just something that's always been a part of it, part of my daily routine. And it's tough to say that about anything in your life, kind of, because a lot of things I've done, I've started it and stopped it, but especially just hitting the gym, it's one thing that's been a part of my life since I was like 13 years old. Now, one thing I think that I can struggle with is maybe just switching things up and not getting in that same daily routine. So a lot of times now I'll come in and do the same workouts, the same rep schemes. One thing that I should probably do that I struggle with is really change it up, get on a set program, stay on it, and then switch. Set program for 3 months, switch to a different program, and I think I would see better progress. I can get a little bit lazy with that sometimes, but that's probably my biggest struggle. All right, so some questions with BPN. Why don't we have dock plates in the new warehouse. So a dock plate, it bridges basically when a truck comes, the plate goes out, you get the pallet over. The reason we don't have one yet is because we're ordering one tomorrow, which is gonna come to our warehouse Tuesday. We'll bring it over here and then we'll be ready to go. So we'll just get one dock plate to start and then probably get a couple more because we have 4 docks. Any plans to relocate the business to PA? We are not gonna relocate the business to PA. We previously thought we would, but we just have a great thing going in Texas right now. Even if we'd ever wanna like move away or anything, or if I'd ever need to go back to PA, I would keep the business here just because it's just a good situation. You know, we have a new employee, John. He's going to be the operations manager probably eventually, which actually leads me to my next question. What are some of the new duties I'm going to do? Because John's actually going to take care of more of like organizing the warehouse, packaging, receiving, all of the day-to-day operations, and I'm going to get more into wholesale sales, just things like that, doing more with customer service, making sure everything's good with customer service, and just managing a bunch of different projects. So I'll be doing a little bit more desk work. John's going to be doing a little bit more operations, but we'll definitely keep BPN HQ in Texas, like for good, especially because this is a 5-year lease now with an option to get out after 3 years, so no reason to leave. Especially at that point, you know, the business could grow substantially, and it's like the only reason you'd need to move at that point is if you can get some huge cost savings going elsewhere, or just another important reason, which we probably wouldn't have a big enough reason to move the business away. So the part that I'm most excited about this new space right here, I don't know, there's a lot to be excited about. I'd probably say the loading docks, because even on Friday, this past Friday, we got this protein, was supposed to get delivered at the current warehouse, and it was sad. The driver got down and you knew he was gonna struggle from the start. Wasn't walking too well and stuff, and he had a lift gate, and he could not get the lift gate like to work, or the pallet down from the lift gate over there at our current spot. So worked out perfect. I had him come over here. We got it on the dock, got all the protein in here, which saved the day. So that would have sucked because we probably wouldn't have been able to get that down on the lift gate onto the ground into that current warehouse. So these are going to be a life-saving saver. They're going to save a lot of stress, a lot of time. They're going to be perfect. So with BPN athletes, what do we look for in athletes? We currently have 5 athletes, and they range from anywhere between power lifters to ex-military. One thing that we look for is just someone who's going to be a good fit to our brand, someone who we believe is going to do well, represent the brand really well, is definitely respected in the community, whatever community they're in. And I think that current athletes we have are absolutely awesome. They're just respected people. But one thing you'll notice that we don't really do is we don't really do the whole IFBB thing with the pro bodybuilders. And I think that's just because so many other companies do that. So a big thing with supplement companies, there's so many of them right now, you got to differentiate yourself, especially your athletes. I think that's one thing we do really well right now. So is BPN, this place open to the public? As of right now, it's not open to the public, but we will definitely have more events and things like that. Maybe in the future, we might do something like a day pass or something like that. It's just the thing is when you roll out open hours and stuff for a gym on a consistent basis, it can get tough after a while, especially if you're doing, 5 a.m. to 8 p.m. or whatever the hours are. You always have to have someone there, someone on staff, and it gets tough over time, especially if all of us need to be somewhere. When it's just distribution, you could just lock the place up for the day and just cancel pickups or something and do drop-offs. If you had the gym open all the time, you would definitely have to have someone here all the time because people may be coming in from an hour out or something like that. So we will think about maybe some type of day pass in the future. And like I said, we'll have more events, but right now it's still closed from working out and everything. Last but not least, some random questions. So what camera and lens do I use? I use the 80D, Canon 80D. It's a wide angle lens right now. It's a 10 to 22 millimeter. So that's just kind of what I've been using for a while. Broke my 70D a couple years ago. Was using some piece of crap that barely focused for a while. Now I got the 80D, so I'm glad because I haven't broken this one for a while. I've never broken this one. Knock on wood. Who dips more Copenhagen? So actually, neither me or Nick dip at all, so no tobacco. No smoking, no dipping, none of that. This person wants to know, am I worried about driving my new truck through a garage? So this is kind of an inside joke. A lot of people might know about this. When I lived at Nick's old house when I first moved down here to Texas almost 3 years ago, I was taking care of his home at the time. He doesn't live there anymore. It was in Temple, Texas. One day, I don't know what happened, went out to get groceries in the middle of the day, going up to the driveway, and for some reason, instead of the brake, hit the gas and just completely took out his garage. So I haven't come close to doing that again at any time since. I don't plan on doing it again. I think the garage costs like $800 to fix. So the best brewery in the world is Trogs. That's in Hershey, PA, where I'm from. This person wants to know my favorite Trogs beer. I would say, damn it, what is that one called? Blizzard of Hops is good. Nugget Nectar. Nugget Nectar is the best one. I think that comes out soon. It comes out each year, like in the springtime. So what happened to the beard? The beard's gone. The stash is probably gonna be gone soon. It's getting summer down here when it gets super hot, so I don't want to be like dripping sweat, especially back here. It can get kind of hot in the warehouse, so that's why I stay clean in the summer. But that's gonna be it. Hope you guys enjoyed it. We'll get some new videos in the new space, so we're super excited about this. And yeah, we'll have to have a public event soon. I'm not sure when, probably once we get everything set up. You know, we'll open it up to the public on a weekend, let everyone know about it. I hope you guys enjoyed this one, and I'll see you in the next one.